Can we talk about, not to play devil's advocate too much, but I want to tease something out because I think this is something that maybe hooks people into believing these anti-racism tenets. They will
Hmm.
say that color blindness is impossible, right? You can't possibly be
Yeah.
colorblind. And which I guess
Yeah.
if you have working vision is technically true. You can't be colorblind, right? Um,
Ugh.
and so,
So many puns. I hate the puns, but
right.
that's what it is. Carry on, carry on.
No, no. So I guess if you look at actually
All right.
evolutionary biology, right? There
The
is
crack my knuckles.
actually we
Colorblind. All right.
no no we
Let's
we
go.
we do have evolutionarily, like, we do have in-group preferences that have developed, right?
Hmm.
And it's
Yep.
I think it
Yep.
is dishonest to pretend that it's impossible that in-group preferences could possibly exist. Um,
Right.
but what we did in the past, which I think was the correct course of action, was to say, regardless of what in-group preferences I may feel from time to time or may come up, I will endeavor to treat people equally and fairly and without regard for whether they're in my group, in any kind of group, whether it's race or gender or whatever it is, religion.
Hmm.
I will endeavor to treat them equally regardless of any intrinsic feelings I may have about it that could come
That's right.
from who knows where. Um,
That's
but I
right.
think I think what they do instead is they say, well, because color blindness is impossible, and because you may actually have
Hmm.
sometimes uh, this inability to be perfectly colorblind, therefore you are actually racist. So
Right.
your sin is something that's actually not in your control, rather than something where it used to be that your sin was in your control. Your actions
Right.
determined your sin. Now there's something intrinsic about
Unconscious
you that is sinful.
bias.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So check this out. It's a pun. You have people who are falling for that, Carter, are falling for a pun. There are two meanings of colorblind, and they
Yes.
they know it. What you just
Right.
described in the longer tail end, the reasonable thing, is what colorblind really means. It means we're not going to put prejudicial social significance into race. So if somebody comes to come in for a job, or if I meet somebody as a potential friend or client or whatever in my day-to-day life, I'm not going to prejudicially judge them. I'm not going to put social significance into the race. It doesn't mean that you're not going to see the race in front of you. This is actually a manipulation of language. They are literally lying by using two meanings of the word colorblind to get people hooked in. Now, let me not be so unfair. I can't accuse people of mendacity. I don't know if they're lying. I shouldn't have said that. They might be stupid. They might not know the difference.
No,
They
I think it's an
might be
intentional
stupid.
equivocation. I'm not going to be as
Well, I
generous
think
as you are. It's an intentional
Well,
the
equivocation.
some
some
people who
people
fall
are
for it
lying,
though
and some
are
people
dumb.
are dumb.
Fair.
And so
That's
Yeah.
they
fair.
don't know that there's two definitions. Okay. So color blindness means we're not going to put social significance into the racial categories. We're not going to make decisions based upon that. It doesn't mean not seeing race. It doesn't mean not being able to see racism, which is called racism blindness. One of the reasons they attack color blindness is they say it leads to racism blindness. It leads
Right.
to your average, like, kind of, joke, kind of, you picture your just average, like, I'm picturing the guy with like this rainbow colored triangle shaped hat with the bill off to the side, like just your, stereotypical 90s doofus Billy Madison or something. And it's like that guy's like, what do you mean racism? Ha ha ha. I don't see color. Ha ha ha. There's no racism anymore. We don't see color. Ha ha. And it's like, come on. Because possibly some people are a little thick, or because some people don't take the time to reflect, doesn't mean that none of us do. And it doesn't, like, there's such a lie there. It is such a manipulation to get people to think it's the same little, like, game, like everything you've ever thought about yourself is wrong. You thought you could not see race, but you actually do. And so, I mean, now there are a number of directions we could talk about. Like, who comes up with a theory like this? I'll tell you who comes up with a theory like this, because a lot of them, I mean, we can break down and say black people who were subjected to having to deal with this, and people saying stuff like Billy Madison there that wasn't good. And okay, fine, that I can hear you about that. We can talk about it. Maybe there needs to be more listening. But there's also an awful lot of white people coming up with this, like Robin DiAngelo, and a lot of other white people, Allison Bailey, Barbara Applebaum. We can just start going down the list. Richard Delgado, Gene Stefanchik, all of these so many of these critical race theorists are white people, and they're writing this stuff down. And what's up in their psychology? Well, they're people who see race and think they shouldn't see race, and they're flipping out about it. And so it's like, So what do? They're like, oh, colorblindness is a lie. Ah, I see race all the time. I'm like, okay, well, it means putting social significance in a race. And if that's what you're doing, you're a racist. And if you're not, then chill out, because it's normal to be able to actually detect the skin color somebody has with your eyes. You can even just see in black and white, and you can still see the difference for the majority of people. It's not what it's being sold as. It's really, really insidious. So it is, you are correct. That is a place where they're hooking people. And it's a lot of these little rhetorical strategies where they play double meanings of words. Did you know that colorblindness, that means not seeing race? No, it means not making race significant to making decisions. In fact, you have misappropriated the term in order to do political activism. And I know you did it on purpose at some level. At the scholars level, I can say it's a lie because they've written it down that they know the difference.
Yes.
They know the difference. Yeah. Those people are lying. Your average person who's picked it up is just like, whoa, dude, I never thought about that before. I had my mind blown. And then they're saying this crazy stuff about colorblindness. But like I said, the issue that they're afraid of getting washed away, of having a rise, is racism blindness, which would wash away being able to talk about racism in a real way where it still exists and where it's still a problem. As though, there's this assumption that magically, once people stopped putting social significance into race, all race-related problems would go away. Or as if when we say we don't put social significance into race, that it's possible that we includes literally everybody, as opposed to, there being 8 to 10% of the population who's slow and 2 to 3% of the population who's actually just, jerks. It is a manipulative thing. And now we focused on color blindness, and there are like 50 other identical manipulations that we could focus on where they're doing a double meaning.